Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Money Talks. Happy New Year. I'm so excited. We're finally getting back to the show. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Money Talks is my chance to get to talk to all of you directly. I answer all of your burning questions about crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, what's happening with altcoins. We're going to talk about stimulus today, the government kind, and why I think this is a fantastic time to be getting into crypto. They're about to start pressing the print button again. Super exciting time for us. All right, so let's get into this. We're going to talk about Bitcoin's price run up. We had a bit of a pullback today. Altcoins are on the move. I've already got a bunch of questions coming in about how Abra works. We're going to get into that. I've got some questions about our Abra interest account, which is doing really well. So thank you for your support there. And so yeah, let's get into this. So let me just go through some talking points first that I think are ultra important, right? So before I get into just the main points, since I sent the newsletter, since we sent the newsletter a couple of days ago, President-elect Biden has released his new proposed stimulus package to get the economy going and deal with COVID. And it's highly likely to be approved once he gets into office. Now, keep in mind that the Federal Reserve has basically printed $4 trillion in response to the COVID crisis, right? And all of the government mandated shutdowns that have occurred. So this latest proposal includes approximately 2 trillion, I think it's about 1.9 trillion in additional stimulus beyond what's already been approved. It includes rental assistance, vaccinate 160 billion or something like that for vaccinations, another $1,500 to $2,000 per person in stimulus checks, 300 to 400 billion dollars in local and state tribal governments. What's the bottom line here? The bottom line here is that, right, the politicians will never choose long-term structural sustainability over dealing with short-term pain, right? They'll never allow it. And so what that means for you is that as an investor is that everything is highly likely to go up and to the right. Stocks, you know, any kind of basically asset, metals, real estate. Now, for me, most importantly, that means Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin is going to basically get the outsized percentage-based portion of this next upcoming run-up in assets that we're likely to see as a result of this stimulus. The money's going to go somewhere, and a big chunk of it is going to go into these assets. And I think Bitcoin is going to really benefit from all of this. All right. And I've said this before, but I really believe that's true. Okay. So, as you all know, Bitcoin broke 40,000 over the break. It was amazing. It's basically melting straight up, or it was melting straight up. Um, Now, I think this is about double where it was the last time we had Money Talk show. So it's clearly gone vertical. Now, on the weekly chart, you can see we're having a bit of a pullback this week, which is actually really bullish to me, and I'll explain why in a second. But Bitcoin basically spent 3 days in January 8th to 10th, ranging, above 40,000 per Bitcoin. This was followed by a big downward retracement of about 28%. And Bitcoin has mostly recovered since then. It's about 36,000 as of this morning. Let me just check. Yeah, it's right about 36,000. And so you can see here on the on my monthly chart up and to the right here that we've got a bit of a pullback, but this is really bullish. Let me explain what I mean by that. All right, so it's important to note that Bitcoin has had several 30% pullbacks during its 2017 bull run, right? And you can see the chart to my left here. I've mentioned here and on social media that investors can expect multiple 30% pullbacks on the way to 100,000. Nothing goes straight up forever, whether it's stocks or commodities, doesn't matter, or bonds even. And these pullbacks are very healthy. Think of the pullbacks like a rubber band winding up really tight and getting ready for the next explosion to the upside. I'm actually quite surprised it took 90 days for a significant retracement of any kind to begin. So the cryptoverse, of course, assumed that the end of Bitcoin was here again. And of course, they were wrong again. Now, as I just said, with President-elect Biden outlining a massive multi-trillion-dollar spending plan, I expect the Fed's printing machines to go into overdrive. These machines are connected to every other government printing machine in the world that's also going to go into overdrive. And I think the result is a global weakening of major currencies with the dollar leading the way down. And this is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin and gold as well. I expect to see 100,000 Bitcoin in 2021. And I've mentioned this in many interviews, right? So that's where I'm headed here, right? So let's just cut to the chase. I think we're headed to 100,000. Do your own homework, make your own investment decisions. This is my prediction. I don't see how we don't get there. I have no crystal ball. Could be wrong, but that's what I think is going to happen. Now, please keep something in mind here. We're going to talk about investing. We're going to talk about how to use Abra. I know a lot of you are glued to your screens right now, super excited about what's happening with the price of Bitcoin. Let me just address this issue head on. Be very careful with this, right? Manage your expectations and mind your mental crypto health. Watching crypto prices all day long is a harrowing experience. This stuff is volatile, but we know what the trend is. And I strongly suggest you have a plan, set price alerts in the Abra app, and not spend every waking hour looking at the Bitcoin or Ethereum price. It's okay to take some profits off the table if you prefer, or if you prefer, you can just ride it out. But as long as you're comfortable with your own plan, then you're doing the right thing for you. Okay. All right. So let's get back to this. Let's talk a little bit about other tokens. Here's the Ethereum weekly chart. Also started basically a melt up, actually a little bit earlier even than Bitcoin, going back to August, September. We can see that it's really gone vertical the last few weeks. Incredible. Also very, very strong pullback. Actually a bigger retracement percentage wise than Bitcoin even. We'll see where this goes. I think Ethereum has more upside potential than Bitcoin. I think it's riskier than Bitcoin. So I adjust my ownership percentage accordingly. So I'm mostly in Bitcoin, a little bit in Ethereum. Personally, I don't hold altcoins long term, as I've told you. I do trade altcoins on occasion, and I do think that's and I do think, by the way, we're going to see a big run up at alt. So let me talk about altcoins. So when I wrote the newsletter this week, and I haven't checked in the last couple of hours, but I believe it's still true, 100% of the top 100 token movers that we track showed positive gains over the past 7 days. That's unbelievably bullish. So clearly the altcoin season, as we call it, is here, right? So the top coins, not only Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, but we're also seeing big moves from coins like Hedera, Navcoin, Dash, Compound, Bitcoin SV, Neo, basically all up significantly this week, at least until we had the bit of a pullback this morning. So, and then this week we've also seen Spendcoin, Endor, Peercoin, Decred, all showing big gains on occasion. So, like I said, I really believe that we're in the middle of now a major run up in asset prices. So the way I look at this from a risk return perspective, I think alts are the riskiest investments, but have massive earn up potential this year. Massive. Okay. I think Ethereum has significant run up potential this year, and not as risky as alts, but riskier than Bitcoin. And I think of the three groups, right, I think Bitcoin is probably the least risky and has huge upside potential, maybe not as much as the alts, but also not nearly as risky as a lot of the alts. So as I've said, be very careful trading altcoins. Don't risk what you're not willing to lose. They can rise very fast and fall just as quickly. I only recommend holding altcoins for the short term unless you understand the underlying technology and are bullish on a very specific project for a very specific reason. Set price alerts in the app so that you know when there are big moves so that you're not surprised. Okay? All right. So let me talk about what's going on with Abra for a couple of minutes, and then I want to get to some questions. I'm already seeing here, by the way, we've got questions coming in from all over the world, so that's awesome. We've got viewers from all over the world. By the way, we're broadcasting on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, I believe. So this is awesome, and we've got some other exciting stuff planned for Money Talks this year. Please press the subscribe button at the bottom of the YouTube screen there. That really helps us get placement on YouTube and promote the show. And you guys have done a fantastic job of helping us grow this from 0 to thousands of viewers a week. So that's awesome. So let me talk for a few minutes about what's going on with Abra. We've got a lot of first-time users here. Personally, I'm spending a ton of my own time helping people get started with Abra. In addition to running the business, I love helping people get started with crypto. I spend a lot of time answering questions. I probably personally help, anywhere from 5 to 10, depending on the day, weekends, a little bit more maybe. But I try to help many people get started with Abra and with Bitcoin. And beyond that, by the way, whether it's on Twitter or even Instagram, I've been using Clubhouse lately, checking it out. There's a lot of interesting Bitcoin groups there. I get contacted via all these channels by upwards of 50 people a day asking me about investing advice. What do I think is happening with Bitcoin? Is this pullback safe to invest in? Should I wait for a dip? I try to answer every message, but it's getting actually harder every day. So please be patient. That's why Money Talks is so great, because I can try to answer all of the questions in kind of a group setting, but I'll try to respond even online as fast as I can. The most gratifying part of my job is when people get their first crypto and really get excited about where this is going, when everybody has their own individual aha moment. So honestly, the steps are so easy now to get into Bitcoin via Abra. It's incredible. I actually put some instructions in the newsletter. You should go back and check it out. And you can really copy and paste this into your social media feed. Send it to friends who send you a text. Just tell them, hey, just do this, and you'll be up and running in 5 minutes. Right? Download the app from the Play Store. You can add money to your wallet using a bank transfer, wire transfer. We even support credit and debit cards now. We have a huge number of people depositing crypto from other sources. So a lot of people may have started out with Coinbase or Binance, and they've moved their crypto to Abra because we support lots of altcoins. We pay very high interest rates. They like the easier user experience. Maybe we have payment methods in your country that we don't have or that they don't have in your country. And then you can also go to the Abra.com website, and there's lots of other ways to buy crypto that we support in different countries. And so um, we're now well over 100 plus crypto assets in the app that we support for trading. And of course, you can supercharge your crypto gains by moving your cash or your crypto to your Abra interest account, earn up to 10% interest on your deposits. And this interest compounds daily. We pay the interest weekly. Super cool. That's how I manage my Bitcoin, right? Is I use the Abra interest. And so, by the way, here's our demo app. We'll be doing some demos as we get into your questions. And so, why don't we do that now? Why don't we take some questions? All right. So I've got a whole bunch here. Do we have any plans to support staking for various coins such as ADA or Ethereum 2? So I can't talk about future products right now, except to say staking is something that we're definitely looking hard at. So for those of you who are not clear what staking means, it basically means you put up a bunch of your coins in permanent storage, and while they're in storage, you effectively earn something that looks like interest. And it's not dissimilar to the Abra interest account. It's just that the source of the interest is a little bit different. So a bunch of coins support this staking model, and ADA is one of them. Ethereum 2 is another. EOS is one. And so we would love to support staking over time, and it's something that we're looking hard at, and hopefully, you know, um, yeah. So, all right. Somebody asks, I have a balance in Bitcoin of $36,000 and $56,000 in Ether. Should I stop with them and put some in altcoins? So, Rich, as I said, I think for long-term holdings, Bitcoin and Ether are great investments right now. That's my personal opinion. Again, I'm not here to give investment advice, so you need to do your own homework. But I'll tell you how I personally look at this. I don't hold money in altcoins long term. I do trade altcoins, and I'll do it week by week, month by month. So right now, I'm starting to dabble in different altcoins because I think we're due for a pretty big run up in alts. But that's just my opinion. Okay, so you have to do what's right for you, and I'll continue to look at that. There's times when I simply pull completely out of altcoins, but I do think that we're going to see a pretty good run up in alts given the amount of money printing that's going on. How does the interest account work with coins? Are we in control of our coins? Is it more risky putting money in the interest account? Thank you for that question, Elliot. So the Abra interest account is basically a way to earn interest on your tokens. Here's the Abra interest account screen. You can see on the right hand side the rates that we pay, right? So this is our test app, so the coins are labeled a little bit differently. The logos are the same. So we pay about 4.5% on Bitcoin. We pay 5% on Ethereum. We pay 10% on USD today. These are fantastic interest rates. They're industry leading. We pay these interest rates via our lending desk that works with big business partners who basically borrow crypto from us using their own collateral. And what I mean by that is if somebody's borrowing Bitcoin to pay you interest, they're leaving dollars with us as collateral. And if they're borrowing dollars, they're usually leaving Bitcoin or Ethereum with us as collateral. Okay. And often it's on a one-to-one basis. And often it's actually higher than a one-to-one basis, depending upon how they're going to use the borrowed funds. And then we run an investment committee that actually analyzes and does due diligence on all of these potential borrowers and determines the interest rates they pay, the collateral requirements, et cetera, et cetera. We've never had a loan default at Abra. We've never had a loan gone bad. We manage reserves so that we can give people control to your question over your crypto. That's how we're able to process withdrawals so quickly in the system, even though you're earning interest, okay? So we forego a small amount of interest in order to maintain a reasonable amount of reserves to do things like processing deposits and withdrawals in the system. So it's a very well-run system. I use the Abra interest account to manage my crypto. Almost all of my crypto is in the Abra interest account. I wouldn't store it any other way right now. I love, my favorite text messages every week are those push messages I get from the Abra app on Monday mornings, Pacific time, showing me that I've just gotten interest on my dollars, my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, et cetera, et cetera. I love that, okay? All right. Yeah, so I'll spend a lot more time talking about Abra interest accounts. Every week we'll dig in on a different topic. But like I said, since we launched Abra interest accounts a few weeks ago, it has just exploded. It's now in the hundreds of millions of dollars in deposits, and we couldn't be happier. It's really exploded, and people love it. And so it is definitely one of the fastest growing parts of Abra. Our trading business is doing really well as well, so we thank you for that support. But definitely consider the Abra interest account for long-term storage of crypto. Yeah, so let me just talk for a second about how to get into that interest account, how onboarding works. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can switch to another phone here while I'm talking to give you a demo. And I don't know if that will work. Actually, that may not work. So let's just stick with my main phone here. So I'm going to go back to the interest account. This is my test app. So if I press add money here, I can actually go to bank wire transfer. Now, the first time that I try to do this, it's actually going to ask me to upload my ID, like a driver's license, if you're in the US, or a passport, of different countries. And then once I do that, the system will validate my ID and send me a push message that I'm now able to move money over to the Abra interest account. Okay, and so how do I do that? Well, I'm at the bottom of the screen here. You see where it says trade and earn. I press the earn button, and at the top it says transfer. So I press the transfer button, and this allows me to transfer. Now I have a balance in USD, and I can transfer that USD over to my interest earning USD, and I can now earn interest on those dollars. Or I can transfer my Bitcoin over, or I can transfer my my Ethereum over, whatever I'm holding. Okay, and so that's all you do. Excuse me. Let me just let me go back here to my test app. Excuse me. All right. So getting started with the Abra interest account is as simple as uploading an ID to the app, transferring the crypto holdings, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or dollars, from the trading screen into the interest earning screen. Again, you just use the transfer button at the top. You press the transfer button. You choose which balance you want to start with. You transfer that over. When you want to transfer money back, let's say that you're holding dollars, waiting for a price dip maybe to buy Bitcoin, If you want to now trade those dollars for Bitcoin, you simply press the withdraw button at the top of the screen, and you can transfer your True USD back to the trading screen, trade it for Bitcoin, and then move it back. It's just like moving money. If you're on like E-Trade, they have a bank account and a trading account, and you can move money back and forth between your bank account and trading account. It's the same thing here. You move money back to your trading account, you buy your Bitcoin, you move it back to your interest earning account. It's that simple. Okay. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. And we'll be happy to do some more demos as we get into some of the questions. So let me see here. I've got a bunch more questions. Can I borrow money on my Bitcoin account to purchase a house? Well, that's an excellent question, Carol. Thank you for that. So why don't you, I'm not going to give too much away. Why don't you keep watching on Money Talks over the next few weeks? And maybe we'll have a surprise for you, but I'm not going to say any more than that right now, or my team will get mad at me. All right, so there's a couple of other questions here coming in from other channels. What does this proposed Stable Act mean for crypto? A whole bunch of cryptocurrency legislation coming out right now. It's actually crypto legislation mania, as far as I'm concerned, and we're on overdrive. So I think that in general, governments are trying to create a kind of framework for institutions to offer cryptocurrency services, right? The US government has basically tried to create a framework for banks to get into crypto. Certain states like Wyoming have bank charters now specifically for cryptocurrency companies. I think we're going to see a lot more proposed legislation in the United States and other countries in the coming years, especially with the new administration. In general, I don't think this means too much for the average retail investor. I think some of it may mean that in the background, we as a custodian of your crypto may have to track where the money's coming, where it's going, basically what a bank does. But from your perspective, I think it's mostly going to be business as usual, meaning you're not going to see a big difference. I think for large institutions, it's probably going to mean a whole lot more work around compliance and basically how they manage and report transactions. But I don't really see too much changing from a consumer facing perspective anytime soon. Um, uh, Another question about timing the buying of Bitcoin. Should I time my Bitcoin purchases? What's the best way to get into buying, single Bitcoins or fractions of a Bitcoin? So what I tell most people is if you are putting a portion of your income or a portion of your investing dollars into Bitcoin, it's okay to make one big purchase, especially right now because we've had a pullback, into that 36K range. This is actually a pretty good time for me. I'm looking for those pullbacks to make smaller purchases. But what I also do is I actually do what we call dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, which what that means is I try to put the same amount in every week or every month, separate from the pullbacks. And what that does is it basically says, okay, if the price is falling or if the price is going up, I'm getting kind of an average price over time, which should work in my favor. And so, assuming that the price is going up over time, of course. And so that's what I try to do. And a lot of people do that. This is obviously a common theme in stock investing, which I know many of you are already doing. So that's how I do it. But you should also do your own homework and do what's right for you. So. So again, another question. Well, actually, let me take this question on XRP. So a lot of people very upset about what's happening with Ripple and XRP. Abra, because of our partners, is being forced to remove support for XRP, at least for the time being. I hope it comes back. I'm very disappointed that we lost XRP for the time being. So the government, the Department of Justice, has sued, along with the SEC, has sued Ripple. Actually, I take that back. I think it's just the SEC has sued Ripple. I don't think the Department of Justice has. And so basically what the SEC has said is that all of these sales of XRP were effectively security sales. And they were illegal securities offerings. And the securities regulation in the United States is a complex mess that goes back, 80 years. And it's just rules that have been added to each other over time to create a complex mess. Now, let's talk about a little bit of history of this. So when Ethereum first launched a few years ago, they launched via a token sale, right? Very similar to all the other ICOs. And years later, the SEC basically said, hey, that original sale of Ethereum, that was probably a securities offering. That was their opinion, okay, at the time. But in the meantime, Ethereum has become decentralized with no off switch, and so it's no longer a security. So we're not going to go back and fine anybody or prosecute anybody for taking part or managing the original sale of Ethereum. But going forward, if you do something similar, we will basically refer to that as a securities offering, and you have an obligation to register that offering with the SEC. And there are certain limitations on what you can do. You can't just automatically sell it to certain small retail investors. And so that basically stopped all the ICO sales, as you remember, in the US back in 17 and 18 because of this new guidance. But Ripple, the company, kept doing sales of XRP off of their own internal balance sheet, right? They're holding billions and billions of XRP. We used to just call it Ripple. They asked us to all change the name to XRP. But basically, these Ripple tokens called XRP, they were constantly selling them every quarter in order to pay the enormous bills they have as a company because they're hiring like crazy. They're one of the largest companies in crypto, and they fund their business by selling XRP for the most part. So finally, the government went back to them and said, hey, we gave you this guidance. Our opinion is these are security sales. You didn't stop, right? Like we encourage people to do. So now we're going all the way back to your original sale pre 17, and we're going to sue you for all of that. Sorry for the long explanation, but that's basically what happened. And so now, while this lawsuit plays itself out, a whole bunch of exchanges have delisted XRP, and as a result, Abra was forced to delist it. I didn't want to do it. We basically were given no choice. So hopefully, once this court case works itself out, exchanges will relist it again, and then Abra will be able to offer it to you again. I have no idea what's going to happen. My opinion is that they should have worked with the government years ago. The government should have stopped them years ago. I don't know why they waited 7 or 8 years to figure this out. We're all paying the price for that, especially retail investors, right? So I don't really get it. All I know is that eventually they're going to figure it out, and hopefully when they do, it'll come back, and all of us will be able to invest if we want to. All right. Why has Abra stopped trading in Monero, Zcash, and Dash when most of the other exchanges have no issues trading it? Good question. So Abra was informed by our custody partner that they are going to delist effectively the privacy coins. And we were very upset about this. We don't agree with this decision at all. We told them that, but it's out of our hands. Our belief is that other exchanges are going to start delisting certain privacy coins. We're not sure, but that's what we think is happening. And we think in the background, all of these exchanges are licensed in different countries, and we think our belief is that they're getting pressure from governments and certain regulators to delist the privacy coins. We're not certain, but that's our belief. Again, we hope they come around because eventually all of the tokens are going to have privacy features, all of them. My prediction is Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, they're all going to have privacy features eventually. And so selectively delisting coins because of these features makes no sense. And so hopefully once they realize that, they'll relist them and we'll be fine. But in the meantime, we have no choice. Does Abra provide insurance in the case cryptos get lost from your custody or stolen? That's something that we're actually looking at. We've been working on that for a while. I would love to offer some type of insurance, but to be honest, right now, most of our crypto is not available online for hacking. There's no way to steal it. The only piece that we leave available is for the small amount that's actively being traded, and that's on exchange under two-factor authentication. So it's all but impossible to steal our crypto because it's either in cold storage or offline anyway. So while that crypto is impossible to steal, we would like to offer insurance because it does give people more peace of mind. So that's something that we're looking at for later this year. So nothing to announce today, but stand by. So hopefully we'll have more to say about that. Hey, so it's we're halfway through the show here. So let me talk about our contest. So we've been running this super cool contest on Twitter to help us grow and spread the word on Money Talks. You guys have been awesome. and ladies, you've been awesome on spreading the word. So one lucky winner today is going to get $100 in Bitcoin. We're going to run this every week now. The people love it. So I said, hey, let's just keep doing it. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So find more details by following us on Twitter at Abra Global, ABRA Global. And today's winner is Deason at DEOSONN. He or she is the lucky winner of $100 in Bitcoin. So I believe the person's name is Teddy Rosario, and from the Philippines. So Teddy Rosario from the Philippines, congratulations. You are our lucky winner, if I'm reading this correctly. So we will contact you via Twitter DM to get your Bitcoin into your Abra wallet. Super cool. All right. Somebody asks, where do I see the price of Ethereum going when it's added to the CME in February? So CME is basically the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and they run options trading on various assets, including cryptocurrencies now, like Bitcoin. I'm not aware that that February is the exact date they're being added. William Higgins asks. My opinion is that when the CME starts trading something, the liquidity and the volumes go up, and it's only a good thing for that asset. So when Ethereum options become available and futures become available, I'm sure that it's going to help the liquidity of the entire Ethereum kind of ecosystem, and that's a good thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Somebody else asks, do we work with Genesis Trading? The answer is yes, we work with Genesis Trading. We work with lots of institutional crypto partners. Genesis is one of them. We share common investors and owners, and we're big fans of theirs. And so the answer is a wholehearted yes. Andy asks, I'm watching from the Philippines. We're watching you as well from the United States on YouTube. So thank you for joining. Looks like we've got people from all over the world. We've got people from different European countries, different Asian countries. I see the Philippines, I see Indonesia, I see Mexico, I see Canada, of course, the US, California, Florida, New York. So it's super cool. We can kind of get a feel based on IP address where people are joining from. So we love that. I've got a whole bunch more questions here. So getting some overlap on the interest accounts. So again, interest accounts are a very safe way to store your crypto. I use the Abra interest account to manage my own cryptocurrency. So as you see here on my right, like you can see there's different interest payments for different interest amounts for each currency. We pay 4.5 to 5% for Bitcoin and Ethereum, 10% on US dollars. And what we do is we basically on your behalf selectively lend to high quality borrowers, and they put up collateral equal to the amount of crypto that they're borrowing, and that allows us to basically safely manage those deposits. Okay, and again, I have very significant crypto holdings, and almost all of them are out there in the Abra interest account earning interest, and I'm very comfortable with that process because I'm in the middle of it, and I watch how it works, and I watch how well that team manages that business, and I'm very comfortable putting my crypto assets into those accounts. And it's also how I manage my dollars now, right? So any dollars that I have in short-term savings go into the Abra interest account. I mean, the 10%, that's the best deal you're going to get online today anywhere. It is, and I have lots of friends now that are putting significant amounts of their dollar savings into the Abra interest accounts, and they all say the same thing. They love those text messages, the push messages on Monday morning about their interest payments, and they think it's the best deal out there. So that's how I look at it, and hopefully you'll consider that for managing your dollars as well. Okay, so as I said, I do want to spend probably half of an upcoming episode just on how the interest account works. Let me talk about trading for a minute. So our trading business has, January has been a crazy month so far, right? Our trading volumes are up significantly. Even over December was a good month, and January is up significantly already. So we're getting a lot of newbies. We're getting a lot of people making very large deposits. The most common scenario that we're seeing right now is people who've already purchased via other exchanges and are moving their crypto over to Abra for a couple of reasons. One, we support a whole bunch more tokens than what the exchanges normally support. We make it super easy to move between any two tokens. So you can go from Ethereum to Dash or Digibyte. You can go from Digibyte to Bitcoin. You can go from, Bitcoin to Raven. Any combination of tokens we support, you can trade directly between them. You don't have to go back to dollars or Bitcoin first. That's a big advantage of Abra. So if the token is supported on Abra, you can automatically trade between that token and any other token in our system, right? And most people don't have all of those trading pairs like Abra does. Okay, so we manage that complexity for you of moving between any two tokens in the background. And what you'll find now is with I should also talk about what's happening on the wire front. So for weeks, I promised all of you that Abra was going to be launching wires globally. Well, it's there now, right? So let me show you. If I go into let me bring up back to the demo screen here. So if I go back into my demo app here, so I'm going to, at the top here, you see this button that says there's add money, exchange, withdraw, price alerts. So I'm going to click on the sorry, not the withdraw button, the add money button that looks like a bank. And you see where it says bank wire transfer? Well, the good news is all of you, 100% of you should have this button on your Abra app now, 100% of you. That wasn't true a few weeks ago. So the ability to wire money to Abra from your bank account is now live globally for all consumers. I don't care what country you're in Asia, you're in China, Philippines, Mexico, Canada, UK, Germany, France, US, it doesn't matter. We don't yet support the state of New York, which is a big problem in crypto, not just for Abra. And we don't support sanctioned countries, but other than that, you're good to go. So there's about a 99% chance if you're watching this show right now that you're able to not only wire money to Abra. So if I press this bank wire transfer, I see wire instructions. Now these are my wire instructions. Don't use these instructions because you're going to be sending the money to me. Use your own instructions that are on your screen. So when you wire this money, there's no limits now. If you want to wire $50 or $5 million, it doesn't make any difference. Abra can support that amount of money coming in. And we have people wiring all different kinds of amounts of money into Abra, and we have people depositing all different kinds of crypto. So let's say you have $5,000 in Bitcoin on Coinbase, and you want to earn interest on that money in Abra, on that crypto in Abra. How do you do it? Well, you just press the add money button again at the top, and you see at the bottom it says deposit cryptocurrency. So I'm going to press that button, deposit cryptocurrency, and I'm going to choose Bitcoin. Okay, and it says Abra test coin because that's our test app for Bitcoin. But it'll say Abra, it'll say Bitcoin deposit. You press I agree. Now you're going to see this address here. You're going to press the copy button. That's where you're going to deposit your Bitcoin to. So you're going to go back to Coinbase and withdraw that Bitcoin, and you're going to paste this address into Coinbase, and you can now move your Bitcoin over from Coinbase into Abra. It's that simple, okay? So, and you could do that with all 100 plus cryptocurrency. I think we're up to about 150 now. Any cryptocurrency we support, you can deposit from an outside source. I get this question all the time. If Abra supports that currency, that crypto, you can deposit that crypto into Abra and trade it for something else. So let's say you bought something in an ICO years ago and you've made money on it and you want to convert it to true USD and deposit the true USD into your Abra interest earning account. You deposit that crypto into Abra, you press the exchange button at the top of the screen, and you can convert your true USD or your Ethereum or whatever that the crypto or ICO token you've deposited into true USD and earn interest on it in the interest account. I hope that makes sense, okay? The other thing that I really need to talk about is the security phrase, all right? This is probably the most important thing I can tell you today. You are responsible at Abra for taking care of the security of your phone. We have no control over your phone. In your Abra app, there is a recovery phrase. What is a recovery phrase? A recovery phrase is a multi-word phrase, I believe it's 15 words, that you write down and put in a safe place that only you know, so that if you lose your phone or if your phone gets stolen or lost and you have to get a new phone, or if you simply upgrade to a new iPhone or a new Android phone and you need to restore your Abra wallet, you simply go to Wallet Security, right? I'm not going to view recovery phrase right now because I don't want you all to view my recovery phrase. And you can actually type in, right, or paste if you store it somewhere else securely, encrypted, and paste that in or type it in, and your entire wallet will be recreated on the new device immediately. If you don't do this, if you don't do this and you lose your phone, you will not be able to recover your funds for the most part. There's some exceptions, but please write down your recovery phrase. It is your responsibility, right? We do this to guarantee that Abra has no access to your funds, and that's good, right? I can't just steal your money. Nobody at Abra can. The recovery phrase ties the funds to your phone. So write it down. If you haven't done it, write it down now, and then type it in again in the validation screen that you'll see to make sure that you did it correctly. Okay. All right. Let's see. Is there anyone? Let's. Ted asks a question. Is there anybody online? I'm going to rephrase the question. Is there anybody online that I've been following lately that I'm really excited to see that's joined the crypto conversation? Yeah, there is. Actually, let me try something here. So I'm going to show you guys. I've been using this app called Clubhouse, and it's super cool. I'm not really here to promote Clubhouse, but what you can see here, see this Bitcoin standard, right? That's a chat that I've been listening to. If you're not in Clubhouse yet, check it out. It's really interesting. And they have lots of crypto conversations going on. They have lots of crypto conversations for newbies. Every once in a while at night, I sneak in and I join a conversation and I tell people, talk to people about how to get into crypto. Last night I was online with a few hundred people, giving them advice about buying Bitcoin and selling Bitcoin and how to use Abra. The other person that I think is kind of new to the broader crypto conversation over the last year is this guy Raoul Pal, Raoulpal. He's on Twitter, has a huge following. His company Real Vision has done a fantastic job of promoting Bitcoin. They're also big fans of Abra, which we love. I love his take on where Bitcoin's going. And if you actually look at who I follow on Twitter and who I retweet, and it'll give you some insights as to who I follow, and it's changing all the time. There's people from traditional investment management that are coming into Bitcoin every week. People are kind of getting bit by the Bitcoin bug, as they say, and it's awesome. And a lot of these people bring new insights. We need new blood constantly to challenge us, to give us a new perspective. And so it's a really good question. That's one of my favorite questions for the day, Ted, is constantly look at who is coming into the space that's new, that might have a different perspective, especially new projects, right? There's new remember, Bitcoin is 12 years old, or it's not a new technology by internet standards, right? So there's lots of new projects that are coming online all the time that I'm fascinated by. And along with those new projects, they bring new blood into the space, and that's great. And I'm always looking at new people to follow and learn from, and I invite you to do the same. All right. So Victor asks, can you talk about buying crypto on Abra from your existing interest account? Victor, yes, I can. So I mentioned this before. Let me explain very clearly how to do this. So if you have crypto in your interest account, or if you have cash like TrueUSD or USDC or Tether in your Abra interest account, and you want to buy, let's say, Bitcoin or an altcoin with that Tether, all you do is you withdraw, right, the money from your interest account back, where you press transfer. You press transfer and transfer the money from your interest account back to your trading account. Then you buy the Bitcoin that you want to buy, and then you transfer it back to the interest earning account. It's that simple. So I hope that makes sense. And generally, the withdrawals back to the trading account are the same day. For larger amounts, they can take a few days, but I've never seen that happen, honestly. We do ask that it's possible, or do say that it's possible that it might take a few days, but I've never seen it happen. So generally, the withdrawals are processed the same day or within a couple of hours. Okay. All right. Great questions. Keep them coming. Let's see what else. Rich asks, how soon do I think an individual will be able to refinance a home through a blockchain platform? Rich, I think the answer is very, very soon. Sorry if I missed that question earlier. I didn't see it. But yes, I think it's coming. I think you'll see some interesting announcements from companies even like Abra in the lending space this year. So just keep joining Money Talks and keep watching our newsletters, and you might get some nice surprises in the coming weeks. So let's see. I think I'm going to take two more questions and maybe do one more demo. Let's see what we got here. So what do we got? What is the spread between the BTC price displayed and the purchase price on the screen? So Kumar, a couple of things going on. So when the markets are moving up or down quickly, the purchase price that you see on the screen will not often not be exactly the same as the price you see on the chart, for example, because those prices are changing really quickly. The second thing is if lots of people are buying at the same time, the app is actually using an exchange to make that purchase. Now, if you look at an exchange, how does an exchange work? There's a bid, which is a buy, and an ask, which is a sell. And at any given moment, when those two prices match, when those two prices match, a purchase happens. But attached to each bid and attached to each ask is a quantity, meaning I'm willing to buy 0.001 Bitcoin at exactly this price, 35,525, for example, right now. And I'm willing to sell maybe a little bit less. So the prices and the amounts don't exactly match. So based on how much you're buying, we have to basically go into the order book up or down, right, to make that purchase. And so the price will fluctuate based upon where in the order book the Abra app has to go in the background to make that purchase. And when things are moving quickly, it will seem like things are out of whack with what's happening on the chart. That's simply Abra, going up and down in the order book to deal with that. And it's simply the way it is in crypto because things are moving very, very fast. All right. Let's see. Gail Bugs asks, how do I access Abra without a smartphone? Today, Abra is 100% smartphone based. We would like to offer a web interface at some point. The vast majority of our users, when we survey them, they prefer to use a smartphone, so we're good to go for most of you. We do have people on occasion that ask us to offer a web-based version of Abra. It's something that we definitely will do this year, but I don't have an exact time frame for you. Let's see. J-Dog Love says, love Abra, love the app, very user-friendly. Well, thank you. The team loves hearing that. We work super hard to make it user-friendly. Let's see, we've got some more questions here. Some more questions about borrowing Bitcoin. Again, stay tuned. I'm not going to say too much about that today, but it's a very common request and something that we definitely are looking very hard at. But keep joining and keep reading the newsletter, and like I said, you might get a nice surprise. Let's see, another question about who I follow on Twitter. Just go look at my Twitter follow list. I'm at Bill Barhydt on Twitter, and you can see who I follow. And I'm constantly tweeting about where Bitcoin's going and where Ethereum's going. Okay, so all right, so let me just do one more quick app update here, and we'll call it a day. So as I said, right, so we now support global wires, but we also have recently raised the ACH limits for those of you who are in the US. So if you want to add money, you can press Bank ACH Transfer, and you can basically link your US bank account, right, to Abra, and you can deposit money. We use the service called Plaid. You may have read recently that Visa was trying to buy Plaid because it's a phenomenal service. All it basically does is you choose your bank, and we support hundreds and hundreds of banks. You send your login and password, not to us, directly to your bank, and that links your Abra wallet to the bank in the background via this secure service called Plaid, and that allows you to very quickly move up to about $4,000 a day between your US bank account and Abra. Now, we're working also in the near future, we're actually going to be raising those limits again so that you'll be able to deposit even more than 4,000 via your US bank account. And also importantly, we're working to bring other payment methods besides bank wire in other countries into Abra, right? So you may have noticed that our marketplace now on Abra.com supports Faster Pay in the UK, supports SupportPay in parts of Europe. We support SEPA now in Europe through Abra.com, and so we want to bring a lot of those payment features back into the Abra app. But I'm super excited about ACH in the app and how it's been improving steadily over time. Um, so Roger asks, will Abra offer a beneficiary account? Yes, Roger. This is something that I've wanted for myself because I have kids, and I want them to have access to my crypto if something happens to me. In the meantime, what I've done is I've put my recovery phrase in a place that one person knows how to regenerate that recovery phrase, and it's in a very secure place. But I'd be very careful doing that. Be very, very careful because if the wrong person gets access, they can steal your money. But yes, we will eventually have to offer a beneficiary model within Abra. I don't have a time frame for you for that yet, but we obviously have to do it. The faster our service grows, the more complicated it gets to basically manage, beneficiaries if God forbid something should happen to any of you. I hope you all live to 150, but unlikely. So we will help you get beneficiary accounts at some point this year. Victor asks a very interesting question. What is the biggest threat to Abra? That's a good question. We talk about that sometimes, what we perceive as the biggest threats. Is it hacking? Is it competition? I think honestly, our biggest threat is ourselves, and that is, are we going to continue as a company to execute and offer the fantastic service, the quality of service that we have, the great support that we have, the awesome features, and really have good insights as to where the market is going to do things like this? Will we forget where we came from and stop doing things like this? I think if we stay true to ourselves, if we continue to execute on the product, if we continue to basically push the envelope with new features, that threat will be mitigated, right? Now, besides ourselves, I think that governments are a concern. Government overreach is a concern. I talked about that earlier. I don't think that affects most of you. I do think that affects us in the background in terms of how we have to do our business. The cost of doing business in crypto is going to go up significantly, but we don't want to have to pass on silly costs to you. So we need to figure out how to manage those costs of dealing with governments because it's a big planet, right? A lot of you in the US, but we have people here I'm looking at in the Philippines, in Mexico, UK. Every one of your governments has a different perspective on what it means to manage crypto. And it's incumbent upon us to do that in a way that doesn't create a huge cost burden for you. And that's a threat that we take very seriously. Now, a lot of what the governments do is reasonable. I don't mean to rail against governments that they're all unreasonable. I think protecting consumer funds is not unreasonable. A lot of what happens in terms of like money laundering laws is insane, but we follow the rules because that's what everybody in our space does. We follow the rules. And we try to do it in a way that doesn't create a huge cost burden for you or create an unwieldy user experience, right? Because if you have to fill out 25 forms to buy $15 worth of Bitcoin because of some stupid government regulation, you're probably not going to do it. So we're trying to basically manage this balancing act between a high quality experience and, of course, following the letter of the law in every country, right? And it's not a threat per se, but it could become a threat over time if things start to become unwieldy. I don't think that's going to happen, but we're very sensitive to it. So good question. Okay, so look, so we're almost out of time. Let me talk about a few things for the new year here. So we've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe at Abra. We've got some announcements in the next few weeks. Make sure you're opening the newsletter every week so you can see these announcements. We've got some features that are industry changing that you're not going to want to miss. We've got a huge announcement coming up in the next couple of months that I've been working on for a while that I'm really excited about. The team is growing. Abra is going to be hiring. So we're hiring developers, we're hiring support. So that we're investing a lot to be able to provide you with an even better service. I'm really bullish on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even altcoins right now. So keep watching. My opinion may change. And again, it's my opinion. I look forward to hearing more about your opinions online. But I'm going to keep digging into the charts, what's happening to the macro events. We'll see what happens when President Biden gets his stride going and what changes he's going to make. But I do think that, again, that money printing button is going to be pressed. And I think it's going to be up and to the right for all of these risk on assets, stocks and gold and real estate, and especially crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins. So, do your own homework, read lots of different people online, look at, what other people are saying, form your own opinion, ask lots of questions. We're here to answer your questions. I try to do it on Twitter. Abra Global is on Twitter. Follow Abra Global on Twitter and also on Facebook. Ask lots of questions. There's no bad questions. There's only the question you wish you didn't ask, right? So we're here to help you. All right, so with that, uh, first Money Talks of the year in the books. It was really fun. Thanks for all the great questions. Thank you for joining from all over the world. You can share the episode on YouTube and on Twitter, Periscope with your friends right after the broadcast is done. And we'll see you next week on Money Talks. Go Abra.